my biggest is actual
All right, everybody, we're going to get started. First, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. This session is for the public to hear the facts about rezoning from current zoning to central business district, and also property owners and renters alike to ask questions and to get clarification to hopefully alleviate any fears, concerns, and misinformation. The format tonight will begin with our contracted planners, Mark Rett and Rebecca Cotto, giving a detailed overview of what's being proposed, followed by you, the public, asking questions or sharing your thoughts. And much like our commission meetings, this meeting will be live streamed and recorded and videotaped for those that are unable to attend. I'll be sharing the meeting and ask that should you have any questions while Mark is presenting or Rebecca is presenting, that you raise your hand to be acknowledged. And for recording purposes, you'll be asked to come up to this podium when speaking. Please state your name and your address. And once the presentation is complete, I'll open it up to public comment. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. That's why we are here tonight. It's the unknown that can be the most frightening. And if everyone's okay with this, we're going to begin. So Mark Rett and Rebecca Cottle, thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'm Mark Rett. I'm with Zevco and Associates, and we are consultants that have been hired by the city of Crescent City to handle their planning and zoning matters. So we staff the Planning and Zoning Commission. We answer questions about land use and zoning from members of the public. We provide staff reports. We attend council meetings when items go to the commission. So we just general purpose planning and zoning. We're also the consultants that wrote the land development code for the city. And so what we're here tonight is talk about applying one of those zoning categories that was in the land development code. That's the central business district. This is the fourth of 5 opportunities for the public to hear and provide comments on this. The first was a general purpose informational meeting, just like tonight. We held that back in February. The second opportunity was in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission made a recommendation to the City Commission to adopt the zoning map. In addition, they made another recommendation to make some tweaks to the central business district zoning. We'll talk about that when Rebecca gives a presentation. And then there was a first reading of the ordinance in front of the City Commission, and they approved it on first reading. And so now we're having this meeting, so it's an opportunity between first reading of the ordinance and the second reading of the ordinance. Second reading of the ordinance is final adoption. And when I say reading of the ordinance, really what that means is the City Commission is hearing the title of the ordinance being read and then making a decision based on the information that's been presented by us and members of the public that have spoken on it, and they make a decision. So that's what we mean when we talk about first and second reading. So after tonight, there'll be one more opportunity to give your input once again. But this is the best format to ask us questions and provide information about your feelings about this. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca. Rebecca's going to give a formal presentation, and then we will open it up for questions.
All right, so right now we have 82 parcels that are currently in the proposed central business district area. That includes all of the opt-outs that we've received to date. So there are 13 less than we started with. Of those remaining, almost half of those parcels currently do not meet the requirements for the general commercial zoning that they have now. So that's almost half that are not 10,000 square feet and are currently non-conforming.
Do you want questions as we go, or do you want us to wait till you're all done?
I would like questions after they're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have time for it. So with the central business district zoning, which requires an area of 6,250 square feet, 21 properties are actually less than that. So we'll still have 21 properties that will be non-conforming to the new area requirement. Okay, this is an example of some properties in the central business district that are currently under 10,000 square feet. So if they have a commercial zoning of GC1 now, then they are not conforming already. The word that was cut off was examples.
Yeah, can we go back when I can see the addresses?
And this does not include all of them, this is just,
Is that a no? So he's asked for you to back up one because we couldn't read it. Could you back up one?
this is,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
and this is not all of the non-conforming properties. These are just some examples. There are some that don't have an address and some that were excluded. So this is not a comprehensive list, I do want to make that clear.
All right, we'll go on to, back to the slide.
Okay, this is a list of, these are again examples. This is not a comprehensive list, but these are some parcels in the central business district that are under the 6,250 square foot requirement, which is what the central business district will require. And this is important because this is one of the main reasons behind the central business district and why we are promoting it for the downtown area. We can go to the next slide here. So let's say you have a property that's under 10,000 square feet or even under the 6,250 square feet area requirement. What would happen if you wanted to improve your property in the future? That could be expanding the building, that could be any improvement where you're adding to the footprint. Maybe you want to add parking, anything that would improve the property. That would also include a change of use. So let's say you sold your property, someone else buys it, and they want to change the commercial operation that's happening there. What we would be looking for is when they come in and they want to apply for this new commercial use, we are going to make sure that they have enough parking. So if the site currently is GC1 and does not have enough parking based on the GC1 parking requirements, they would need a variance to parking. They would likely also need a variance to setbacks if they don't meet the GC1 setbacks. So the front setback from GC1 is 25 feet. A lot of the properties in the central business district are built to the property line or at certainly less than 25 feet. So they would likely need a variance to setbacks as well. Lot coverage in the GC1 district is 70% of the parcel. So there are buildings that have very small lots and cover more than that. They would need a variance to lot coverage. And GC1 also has landscape standards. So for existing structures that are built to the property line, they simply cannot meet that. It's not practical. So because of that, they would have to go through the variance process that doesn't involve public hearings. There is a fee, a cost for variances. So all of that does add challenges to any expansion, addition, or change of use for potential commercial development in that downtown area. It adds uncertainty because variances can be denied. It adds cost, it adds time, which again increases the overall cost if you're paying a designer to help you through the process. And that can potentially be a deterrent to future buyers or to commercial uses looking to come to town. So the purpose of the central business district is to alleviate these challenges and make it easier for businesses downtown. Now, the uses do differ between the GC1 and CBD district. GC1, because it requires a larger lot size, has larger scale commercial uses. Things like shopping centers, grocery stores, those things that require larger parking lots, bigger setbacks, those types of uses. Central Business District is smaller scale uses, things like boutique retail, salons, personal services, smaller scale offices, those types of things that would fit in the existing structures that are downtown and generally require less parking. We can go to the next slide here. All right, so on the left, we have the GC1 uses, on the right, central business, and then in the center, there are some that they have in common. If you notice, the uses in the central business district are uses that you're more likely to be walking from one to the other.
We can't read that.
Okay,
There are two things, the font is too small, and the background colors make it even worse.
I do
Can you
have,
enlarge it?
I can't enlarge it, but I do have the uses from the code.
So let me read some examples. There you go. Rebecca, could you just read some examples?
Yeah, so some examples from GC1 would be,
Here, you want me to just read, let me just read some of these off. So GC1, assisted living facilities, athletic clubs, art museums, automobile parts and resales, banks, bowling alleys, business, music, dance or commercial schools, churches, drugstores, fortune tellers, funeral homes, gasoline service stations, hotels, motels, indoor theaters and auditoriums, laundromats, medical offices, outdoor storage, pawn shops, pet shops, public institutional uses, restaurants with drive-through, radio or television broadcasting studios, car washes and details, shopping centers, temporary buildings, liquor stores, which are conditional use, and wireless facility conditional uses. The central business district, and then I'll read what's in common, but I'm going to central business district. Antique shops, art galleries, arts and craft studios, non-industrial bookstores, breweries, cafes, coffee roasters, coffee shops, corner stores, farmers markets, gift and souvenir shops, music shops, personal services, pet grooming, sit down and take out eateries, restaurants with liquor licenses and bars, spa uses, shoe repair, specialty food, tailors and seamstresses, toy and hobby shops, vintage resale, residential above the ground floor, and boutique hotels. And then in common are bakeries, bed and breakfasts, childcare, dry cleaning, florist shops, general professional offices, grocery, fruit, vegetable store, personal services, photography, artist studio, sit down, take out restaurants, retail stores.
all right, both zoning districts also have prohibited uses. They are formatted differently in the code. So the way the GC1 district is written, anything that's not specifically listed as allowed is not allowed. So it doesn't give a specific list of what's not listed, but if it's not in that permitted use that Mark just read off, then it's not included. The central business district does actually give a list of prohibited uses, in addition to having specific allowable uses listed. So they both have prohibited uses, just different formatting in the code.
Can you please read off what the CBD specifies as prohibited uses? I don't know if people can see that.
Sure.
Yes. Adult businesses, auto parts sales, auto repair leasing sales, big box retail, convenience store, drive-through, fast food restaurants, flea markets, outdoor storage, pawn shops, smoke and vape shops, shops selling 50% or more smoke-related products, tattoo shops, industrial uses, and then 8 or more fuel pumps.
Right, architectural standards, I know this has come up in several meetings. There are architectural standards now that apply to the GC1 district. Those are already in place. And the new McDonald's is an example of those current architectural standards applied. Those would apply to future development. So existing structures would not be required to go back and make changes to meet these requirements. This would apply to new structures coming in the future.
Can I ask one question on the
Yes.
previous page? I just missed the heading over that part that y'all read off. Did that say prohibited or?
Yes, yes,
So
both
those are-
zoning districts have prohibited uses.
Okay, thank you.
I also have business cards over by the sign-in sheet, so if anyone wants me to email them the presentation afterwards, I'm happy to do that. All right, there are also architectural standards associated with the CRA and the historic district, and we'll go into that further in a moment. But as far as zoning-specific architectural standards, on the board here, we have on the left, the general design standards, those apply to GC1. And then on the right, the central business district specific design standards. So if you notice, the main differences are the colors are more specific in the central business district to be more earthy, earth tones. And then it's more specific on the windows with 20% glazing, and the sidewalk is required to be 1 foot wider. Again, this would be for a new sidewalk. So in Central Business District, it would be required to be 6 feet wide. In GC1, it's only 5 feet.
Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry?
Can you just repeat that, please?
Yes, in the Central Business District, the main differences from
No, just the sidewalk.
just the sidewalks. In Central Business District, the sidewalk, for anything new, the sidewalk would be required to be built to 6 feet wide, whereas in GC1, it would be 5 feet. That's for new development. That would not change the existing sidewalks that are in place. Okay, this is a comparison of the architectural standards in the CRA and the historic district. This is actually where the majority of architectural standards come from, not from the zoning.
And this is only if we get to satisfy, if we get the grant, right? These stipulations are only for spending the grant money, correct?
No, these
No.
would be for new
So the
development.
CRA
in the
historic district is identical to your new zoning, so why do we keep talking about different things? And I have never heard of the CSRA historic district having its own zoning in our town.
They're not identical, so we can actually go ahead and go to the next slide, Rick, that'll help. Okay, well, the historic district is actually an overlay. And if you look up on the screen, the white and red dashed line is the boundary of the historic district. It is different than the zoning, okay? It's just an overlay. This helps protect structures that have a historic designation. They may require additional review through the Historic Preservation Board, depending on what they're proposing on doing, okay? Now, the CRA is a TIF district, it's a tax increment financing district. And what happens with those is at some point in time, basically the tax rate is frozen, and anything above that gets paid into the CRA is then redistributed into the community for grants. So that's where that grant money comes from. So on the screen, the yellow shading is the central CRA, and then that pinkish red is the southern CRA. And then the hatched and bolded outlined parcels are the central business district zoning as of now. So there is some overlap, but they are not completely identical, and they do function differently. The zoning is different from the historic overlay and from the CRA.
So I'm sorry, I have to ask, so my building is gold, and I'm told I'm a CG1, so am I CG1 or am I CRA? Is CRA really a zoning?
It is not a zoning.
Well, that's what you're telling us.
No, that's, no, CRA is,
My question was, is that you had all those,
Okay,
excuse
so-
me, you had all listed, and were telling us that those were requirements in the CRA for zoning, so what is it?
so there are various districts, right? There's, Central Business District is a true zoning district. The historic district is a boundary that's been created that tells you that there are certain procedural historic preservation processes associated with being in that historic district. And then there are certain historical standards in terms of the integrity of the structure to the history. So that's a whole separate set of standards. In the land development code now, and this is before we created a new land development code, so your old land development code had two separate sets of requirements for architecture. One was a set of requirements that applies to the entire city. There are both residential and non-residential architectural standards in your city, and they've been in place for years and years. In addition, when the CRA was created, they created architectural standards that just apply to the CRA. So there are architectural standards that were applied to the McDonald's, for example, and you saw that. If they had been in the CRA, they would have had even additional standards, right? So that's what we mean when we talk about these CRA standards. CRA is just a boundary and a reference.
Satisfy and another group of set of rules that I need to satisfy because you guys have put me in the CRA. Is that what I'm hearing? I have CG1, I gotta worry about all that, and now you presented me another list of CRA requirements, and my building is that color, so I have to worry about those as well as my CG1 requirements?
Yes.
Your building is existing, so if you came in with something new,
Yes, you have to
then
wait.
all of that would apply, yes. But those are existing, and those are not tied directly to the
So we
central
have a
business
whole nother set of rules that nobody's ever mentioned before tonight, CRA, and a whole nother set. Could you send those to me, please?
They're in the, they're in the
They're
handbook,
existing.
they're online, they're available online.
I'll go find it
And-
myself then.
And they've been online for, years and years. If we get them, we'll be happy to send them to you. If we do it, we're gonna generate a bill for the city. So if you can look at us
We'll talk about that
online.
later.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
I'll take care of this. I'll get it to you.
But these standards have been in place long before we got involved. When you say we've done this to you, I think you're talking about the city. And,
No, I've been asking you questions and emailing you back and forth for a couple months now. And you piecemeal this information, you piecemeal the information to do this. And, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. This is my city, not yours. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on and answer your questions and approve this or make this the way our city wants. And you're making it very difficult to do that. Why do you piecemeal the information like that? Here's yet another one, as I've been asking.
Well, the goal of this meeting is to clarify any questions that are still remaining. So I do think there has been some confusion about the way the historic district and the CRA interacts with the zoning. So that is the goal of tonight, is to help clarify that.
I mean, you're asking about standards that have been in place over 20 years.
Is that wrong for me to ask that?
It's not wrong for you to
Okay.
ask that, but we don't know what you don't know. So,
You can assume that a citizen know nothing.
There you go.
And that's why I've asked questions and asked questions. So,
Let's
no,
let's continue,
hold them back information.
let's continue with the
That's not
presentation,
good.
and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A.
Good question.
Okay, so when we brought the proposed rezoning to the Planning and Zoning Commission, they instructed us to go back and review the standards for the central business district. So this would be a separate ordinance that we will in the future be bringing back to them. And the reason this slide is here to discuss what we were assigned to do and the proposed changes, so that you can compare them to what is in the code right now. Okay, so what we were instructed to do is increase the setback from 10 to 15 feet on Summit Avenue. Reassign administrative review and approval for waivers from the city manager to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So at the beginning, we mentioned that if you have a non-conforming parcel and you want to expand or redevelop, that you might need a number of different variances. The waiver process is simpler than the variance, but it does still need approval. So the way the central business district requirements are written as of today, the waiver could be approved by the city manager. When we bring revisions forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission, our revision will include the waivers being approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission, but it will still be a waiver, it will not be a variance. And then, the last one was the allowance of ground floor residential to be allowed to the rear of a building. Right now, the way the standards are written, ground floor residential is not permitted at all in the central business district.
That's not it.
What's the zoning of that?
Is that what you're trying to achieve?
The whole one, that's all you're
And let's see that same.
Where here?
Sections,
That's the one.
yeah.
That's like Crescent Moors.
Okay.
That's why it hasn't been clear. The water hasn't been clear, you know? That keeps you from seeing all the alligator things. You never get in.
Well, I have a slide that I added, I made changes that I added this information to
It's all the
the,
alligators.
but it's not selected here, and I'm not sure why, but I have it in this document, yeah, I just need it to be projected up there so I can see what the current standards are.
Wow.
Oh, I think it's later on, yeah. I don't think it's right now.
Well, bear with me, we're just trying to
Just
pull up
because
the
they're made
current,
all the time.
the current standards, so that you can see what those look like.
And then we'll open it up to questions.
Yes, good picture, good side.
I don't know if it's because I have a different version of.
Oh, right there.
The little owl.
Make sure it's my good side, you know? Where's the owl?
I can't see
Oh, it's an owl.
That's an owl?
So this is like a second.
You should have sat more that way.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're not, yeah, this isn't right here, okay.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna all swap.
Wherever you're, whatever you got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah, is it use this to go through it, okay? Just like this. So people can see it, will come out.
So do you want to?
No, that, yeah, that's Google Maps. Okay. All right, so on the screen here, we have the current standards for the central business district. So this is what is required as of today.
We're back, we got it up, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so as you can see right now, the setbacks, the front yard setback from the front property line, that would be fronting any street, is 10 feet. The rear is 10 feet and the side is 5 feet. However, if you're within the downtown core area along Central Avenue, then you can build to the property line. And then as you can see, if we go down a little bit there.
You can zoom in. How far are we going?
Yeah, just wanted to see the end of the dimensional standards.
I think that's how you should have.
That is the-
That's how it's of your presentation. Because a lot of this we can't read.
Braille. Braille. Or silent.
What?
Just a little bit. Yeah. So with the proposed changes, that front yard setback would be increased to 15 feet. And then we will open it up for questions at this time.
Where does the property line start? Is it, you know, if you have a right of way, and the right of way can be 30, 40, 50, 80 feet wide?
Depends, varies.
Okay, so does the property line start where the right of way stops?
Yes. Yeah, that is precisely where it starts.
Okay, so if you're gonna have, in other words, you could build something right up to the right of way. No sidewalk or anything, just be right on the road, almost like this building is here.
We're gonna have a 6-foot sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, that's 6-foot sidewalk.
Yeah, our 5-foot building.
If you're doing something new, we'd make you extend the sidewalk. Under the current rules.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and open it up to questions.
Okay. What I understand so far is that we are not in compliance with the present, what, present two zonings, the two different zones?
Well, so there's, current zoning is GC1, right, in most of the area. GC1 is a general purpose catch-all commercial district. The city only has one commercial district, and so it's got all those uses in it, right? With and most of that was created, the very suburban style of a zoning district, right? It requires the building to, it requires the buildings to be set back. You get this arrangement of, landscaping, parking, building, right? That is an arrangement that, works fine in most suburban areas. You could see where, north part of town where the McDonald's is and, Wendy's and what'll be Aldi soon. You can see that type of zoning works in that location. It doesn't work in the central core where we're trying to create a pedestrian-oriented, curated area. And so the purpose of that is, think about, the vision for this is a downtown, similar to, think of DeLand's downtown or Mount Dora, right? Where you have this sort of fine-grained uses. The way they talk about this typically is the number of tenancies per linear foot, right? If you're, think about the successful downtowns that people go on vacation to walk around and shop in. You don't have a big box retail. People don't want to stroll by a Home Depot or Winn-Dixie and all these, or McDonald's. They want to walk down the street and see, a number of uses, per 100 feet of walking, and that's what, that's conceptual difference between the zoning categories and what they're trying to achieve. And it's a matter of, you already have the bones of that now. The existing zoning doesn't reflect that. That's why so much of the land within that GC1 zoning district just simply is not conforming to it. Two types of non-conforming uses. There are legal non-conforming uses and there are illegal non-conforming uses. Most of what we're talking about, most of the properties that predate the zoning, they're legal non-conforming uses. That means they're allowed to continue. They can be maintained, but they can't be changed. They can be sold. And so there's no reason why you can't sell a legal non-conforming use. But that new owner has to use it exactly the way it's used on the day they bought it. And they have to continue to maintain it that way. Illegal non-conforming uses would be uses that would be established after the zoning is in place. We're not really talking about that here tonight. But it's important to understand that when the zoning gets in place, nobody's going to be required to make any change to the property. This is only forward-looking. Zoning is forward-looking. If you want to make a change to your property, then there's a whole set of rules, and sometimes multiple overlapping sets of rules that you have to follow.
So existing is grandfathered in.
That would be the layman's term.
Yes.
Grandfather.
Most
Unless
people
you're making
understand
a
that.
change. Unless you're making a change.
Right. And you're screwed. They're screwed.
Can I ask a question? Layman's terms. We go back to the very beginning. We start this process over, or the commission decides we're not doing this at all. What does our city look like in 10 years? How does it handicap us? What does it do to us?
Well, it's gonna look a lot like it does today. You're gonna have you'll have a lot of buildings that people don't use on a year-round basis.
Right.
Right? You'll have a lot, if something's vacant, it's gonna stay vacant, right? But this zoning.
Gonna change that?
That's what I was gonna say. Zoning is not necessarily gonna change that. It's just one part of something that facilitates that, right? I mean, what's gonna change that is, things like you're doing with the downtown partnership. Creating events, creating activities, getting people, down here, promoting your downtown.
And I'm sorry. Who's gonna do that? Who's gonna get people downtown? What is?
Well, that's the job of the CRA and the downtown
And
partnership.
this is a part of creating that environment.
Right, and what we're trying to do is create something that facilitates that, because when somebody comes along and they see a building and okay, we'd love to turn this into a restaurant, can we put a deck out back and have some tables on it and have service area? Well, under GC1, that's additional customer service area, and that means you have additional parking requirements. So can you put a deck and put restaurant tables out there? The answer under GC1, for 50% of the property is no, you can't.
Okay, and that's, you guys are GC1.
Excuse me?
Or, no, the what is now.
That's under what is now.
Okay, I'm
Most
confused.
of the properties.
Right.
Okay.
If my property is zoned for both commercial and residential, why can't I have residential downstairs? Or can I?
Okay, if you're zoned GC1, residential's not currently allowed in the GC1. Under the new zoning,
Well, okay, under the new what?
the way it's currently written is you're allowed residential on the second floor. There is a proposal that'll be coming forward to the planning commission soon that will allow ground floor residential, but not in the front. If you have GC1 property and you have a single family home in GC1, it's a legal non-conforming use, most likely. Meaning it's allowed to, you're allowed to keep it, but you can sell it, but if your house were to be destroyed, it could not be rebuilt.
Right.
It's a legal non-conforming use, it's grandfathered in.
I do have one other question that doesn't really pertain to what we talked about, but kind of on my mind right now. What about the trees? Are they historical where you can't trim them back or anything? Or is there any guidelines that you have to follow? But, I mean, some of the trees are awfully big and on telephone lines and over roofs and things like that. Is that something that,
Yeah, there is a whole,
another
the
ordinance on
whole
that?
sub-ordinance related to tree protection and.
Sounds like a whole.
The process is pretty simple. With getting arborist letter, certain life safety issues are also, trees are allowed to be.
Now, if you have a single family home, if it's an owner occupied single family home, you're allowed to take down your trees.
But it's not a single family home. It's
Okay, well then-
residential and commercial.
Then there are regulations. So
So-
new development has to follow it, any new development that's gonna convert land that currently has, trees on it, has to follow it. any other uses other than owner occupied single family homes.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about like the electrical lines and things like that.
Yeah, trimming is.
But I mean, these branches are huge.
Sorry.
Just like
Follow my
a-
own rules here. If the public wants to make changes to this or give you all, some recommendations for possible changes to hear out with either the planning and zoning board or commission, how do they go about doing that? And are we too far along the process for that at this moment?
If you're talking about changes to the landlord code, no, we're just starting that process.
Okay.
So we certainly will take any comments you have about it. But the best way is to show up at the planning and zoning commission and let them know how.
So they can make a recommendation.
Right.
What is planning?
Because
and
we
zoning?
make suggestions, the city makes decisions.
You mentioned that you had a second meeting earlier, but you didn't mention what day it was. I know you said the first one was in February. When was planning and zoning, the second meeting, when was that held? So that if I want to look up the notes, I would be able to, right?
Yeah,
It's July 18th.
yeah, I think it was,
It's July 18th, June 18th.
yeah, it was the July planning and zoning.
So bottom line is we have a lot of properties that are CG1 that have businesses that probably shouldn't be operating under that CG1. With the central business now, they'll be able to operate possibly down the road. My problem with the central business, if you look at the list, as you call it, boutique, we've got a lot of, compared to the central business compared to the CG1, central business, all boutique coffee shops and things like that, where this is businesses. I mean, I'm talking serious stuff, bigger businesses.
Well,
Possibly
correct, 'cause currently the city
And-
has
and I'm
only
just saying-
the city only has one commercial district, so it
I'm
has
saying, why limit
has to
that?
do everything.
Why limit us to these boutique kind of like, little things for this big area? Is there a CG3?
No,
Is there any other zone
there's
you can-
general commercial one.
Yeah.
And now we're proposing central business.
I just see it limiting what you're gonna do down the road, and also I see that the next person maybe, okay, we'll just do nothing, but the next person's gonna have, they have to do certain setbacks, they have to do plans, they have to do all these different things. And it's like really limiting what we're gonna, if you wanted down the road sell, or somebody wants to move into, whoa, wait a minute, I don't wanna do that.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about
It's gonna be
setback,
very expensive.
so from a physical arrangement point of view, from a building form.
Yeah.
The the central business district is more lenient than
Like right now, our air conditioners are outside the building on the main road. We talked about this.
Yeah.
They're outside the building on the main road. If I go CB, the Central Business District, if somebody wants to come in over this, they're gonna have to move those because they're now out front.
Both, the current
I think you can get a
architectural
variance,
standards.
but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, the current architectural standards allow them, require them to be screened also.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't really change, but it's existing, so again, it's just sort of.
But if somebody down the road wants to open something up, they're gonna have to probably move all of them. And there's no
It
parking.
depends what changes they make, right? Right now, it sounds like you don't conform to the current rules.
Yeah, I'm saying. Probably nobody does.
But you're saying we don't have to.
Probably nobody does.
You said we don't have to.
Yeah, but I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, probably nobody
You
does.
probably don't conform to the current rules.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
I don't know.
Derek.
I just want to make a follow-up, because it wasn't quite answered, but the answer that I wanted to bring it up is that the process is never over. The commission has the final say. If you all have an issue with what's being presented, like Mark said, you come to the planning and zoning. You can also come to the commission meetings and voice your opinion. You can also write, call, email the commissioners and let them know what your feelings are about it and what you need and what changes you would like to see done on it. I personally, don't agree with all the prohibited uses, that's me personal, I'm one person. The city needs to have a voice in that, and that's why we're here tonight. That's why I called this meeting, I wanted a final kind of town hall for us to kind of talk about this, bring up some points, and then things that I can bring to the commission, and remind you all that it is our civic duty, all of our civic duty to voice your opinion, and come to the meetings and talk respectfully with your side and what you think needs to be done or changed. With that being said, if there are issues with that, Mark, do they email me, you, the commission all together? How do we want to do this moving forward with any of the things that they're bringing up?
Rebecca's card,
Okay,
it's in the back, so you can email me, and email Rebecca, and we will present, when we bring forward the changes,
okay,
we'll present all that information.
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mark,
If
could you
email
possibly
us
bring
the
the
letter,
map
we can
up,
present
just
that.
showing the districts again, and leave it up for us? I think that'd be really helpful for a lot of people. Because I
The
have some
standards,
questions as
the
well.
standards or the map?
The map. The map showing the actual districts.
You go find the.
I mean, because
Yeah, that's, because it makes a big difference, because I did notice one thing on there that says the prohibited use of flea markets. And I'm curious about that, because I believe, okay, does that reflect permanent flea markets, or does that include occasional?
That's a good question.
Permanent use.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm talking about our church, right now, we currently have 5 flea markets a year, we may increase that.
at what point you can trade consider flea market?
And we'll mail it to you.
But farmers markets, okay.
Is that big enough for everyone to
But in
see?
the farmer's market, there's no convention.
You have. You're right, Rebecca. You actually had one that showed the overlays with the boundaries.
CRA and the,
One with like red and white.
The one that showed all the inclusive area, if you could. Oh, yeah, that's,
This is different than the one that was up. There's one in the presentation,
That's just CRA.
that's just CRAs. The one in the presentation is the one that he's
So
talking
this-
about. What?
This is it, it just doesn't have the.
It doesn't have the historic district.
right, I'm looking for the one with the historic preservation district.
Yeah, we gotta go back.
So the issue is right now, you don't want to limit yourself.
There you go.
Are there businesses that say, oh, I'm not gonna open up a boutique clothing store on Central Avenue because it's not whatever, it's the downtown business district?
Okay, first of all, just two different things.
Yeah.
First of all, and I want to make sure everybody's clear. In terms of the physical arrangement
Yeah.
of your site, of your building, the central business district is more liberal than the GC1.
Okay.
Okay? But when it comes to uses, the central business district is more restrictive than the GC1. So those are the two differences.
Say
Now-
that again?
So when it comes to your building, the arrangement of your property, the central business district is more lenient than the GC1, okay? That's very important if you have a small property. If you have a big property,
You can move around.
doesn't make a difference, okay? If you have a small property, GC1 is gonna be much more liberal in terms of how it's treated. In terms of uses, GC1 is more liberal, and the central business district is more restrictive. Okay? The idea being, again, the purpose behind it, and you can argue with that, but the purpose behind that was to eventually create a downtown that people would travel to like they do to, Mount Dora, DeLand, New Smyrna. They would bring people here to visit and, restaurants.
CG1 stopping that right now.
Excuse me?
Is CG1 stopping that right now?
CG1 will allow the introduction of uses that, when you walk down DeLand's downtown and you're looking at, bookstores and breweries and restaurants, you don't then want to walk past, a tire shop and, a gas station. So those things are prohibited. That's the theory behind it. Again, that's where we could have a disagreement about it, but that's the theory behind it. The whole theory is that there is a cadence to how people experience a pedestrian commercial street, and it's literally tendencies per 100 linear feet. Typically, the minimum you want to have in a pedestrian-oriented business is 3 tenancies, 3 different businesses per 100 linear feet. Optimal, in terms of the most successful downtowns, they have 5 different businesses per 100 feet. And, that's, how Central Avenue operated in its heyday. It was small, tiny lots that were on a scale for pedestrians. That's how Crescent City was originally built. When the old land development code was put in 25 years ago, the zoning that was applied was zoning that was completely suburban. It didn't recognize that and didn't really have a theory behind why it was trying to do what it was trying to do. There's only one commercial category and it got applied everywhere. So that's why we're doing this. And so.
Change of use. When you say change of use, if someone has, this is just hypothetical, somebody has a clothing store, and the next person who comes in wants to open up a coffee shop, is that a change of use or is that still retail? Change of use. So that is highly limiting
Right,
for
so
anybody to resell their property.
if you're
And
in,
therefore lowers the value of those properties, which then in turn lowers the tax base.
so if you're in the GC1 and you change a use, right? What we look at is if you go from, let's say you go from clothing store to a restaurant, they have whole different parking standards. So maybe the existing property has enough parking to support both that original use, which was a clothing store, and maybe it has enough parking to also support a restaurant. So if it doesn't, you won't be allowed to do it.
Now, we used to have on-street parking here once upon a time.
Right.
And the decision was made to do away with that on-street parking. So is there anything that's going to be offered to these locations that used to have 2 or 3 parking spaces in front of their stores? I mean, that seems like it's been taken away from them. And that's one of those rights that the property holders had previous. And, how do we address that? Should the city be setting up a parking area that's close to the retail store to absorb some of that, thereby lessening the demands for parking on those individual commercial properties?
The short
Well, there's
answer,
a couple places we could put.
the short answer to your question is yes.
Yes.
What about this field right here?
Well, we have Market Square,
Yeah.
which is which I had often touted that that'd be a great parking area. There's a couple other lots that sit around here that could be used, especially as we expand out and generate and bring more people in. Of course, that's our main goal, is to start bringing more people into the city. And by doing that, you do need parking, but you need some more central parking because there is not street parking. And that is, it's very crucial. And that's one of the issues and I know this sounds simple, parking, but it is so crucial for people to come here. And if we hold events here in town, which is what I think we all believe should happen, I don't think there's a person in this room who would say we don't need more events in town. And so, and we are working on it, some of us, besides the downtown partnership. And we need to get these things in here, but if there's no parking for people to come to, Howe Memorial, I'm a trustee at Howe Memorial United Methodist Church. When they had the Catfish Festival, we opened up our parking area for people at the Catfish Festival. We're nice and close to the park, so people could park there. And we did pretty good. We had over 50 cars parked there, but it's needed. And it is crucial to the growth and development of this city to have more parking. Because if we don't, nobody's going to be interested in having a place here if you can't have a place for customers.
Yeah, that would solve a lot of problems. Because also, if I could see if somebody has one business and they want to turn it into like an art parts store. Okay, then I can see like restricting or whatever, if that's not what you want. But if it's like going from coffee shop to a brewery or something like that. Those are both things that you want. So why would you penalize the person that's doing, you know?
The new zoning will not penalize the new person, okay?
Well, if he.
The current zoning would say to you, both address parking. GC1, the current zoning that most of you have, requires you to have that parking on your lot.
Right, so are you saying that that's the biggest problem is parking then?
It is exactly.
Oh,
With
yeah.
the old or the new?
For businesses.
For the old or the new?
My understanding with the parking, from what I'm getting from this, is that if you make changes on your property, you want to do something, if you're expecting a higher customer load, then they expect you to take part of your property and turn it into parking.
In the GC1, in the current zoning,
Right.
not in the zoning that we're proposing, the current zoning liberalizes the parking, right? The parking is reduced in the GC1, the parking requirements. They're either eliminated or reduced. Now, in the future, if you have a very successful downtown, you are going to have to spend, as a city, you're gonna have to spend money to create those parking spaces, you know, for the public. You may need to do that now, but hopefully in the future, you know, that becomes, you know, I mean, I hope your downtown is successful enough that that becomes an urgent need.
Right.
Yeah.
CBD requires that you have parking on your lot. So that's.
No, it's the exact opposite.
Now.
The central bit, the GC1 requires off-street parking.
Right.
Very good.
And yours requires us to put the parking in the back and to have a driveway between the building.
No, that's the arrangement for it. If you're on,
If you had parking and you were new, the parking would be granted behind the building.
it's,
But CBD
Right, so
also offers
so
the waiver
CBD
to park.
requires us to have parking on the lot.
no,
I'm looking at it right here, that's what she just said.
that would be the arrangement of building forward, parking to the back, right? But there's portions, so the way GC1 works is,
What's it?
the way
Go
GC1
back to
works.
CBD. The question was,
Can-
you said that CBD had no parking, and it shows right here, and I've read it several times, that CBD requires me to put parking behind my building. And now you're saying it doesn't, so which is it?
So that is a sample layout comparing the CBD design requirements and orientation for a parking lot versus GC1. Okay, that is just a sample. Now, with CBD, there are sites that have no parking. With GC1, if you come in and you have no parking and you want to change the use, and the new use requires more parking than you have, you would have to go through the whole variance process to get any relief from parking. With the CBD, you can ask for a waiver, so it's intended to be simpler, knowing that there are a lot of properties in the downtown area
Okay,
that
so the
currently don't have
CBD
enough
does
parking.
require parking. I mean.
It depends where, some areas it requires no parking. Like on Central, if we're talking Central, it doesn't.
CBD requires no parking on Central.
Correct.
And again, I say, I've been asking for months for information, that's never anywhere. That wasn't anywhere.
But
I
if,
have plenty to say if I can have my turn up there.
can I just say one more thing? But if we
Please.
turn this area, I'm sorry,
No, please.
but if we turn this area into parking, then all of that is, you know, then that's all, then that's, you don't need the extra parking here. If we turn this whole parking lot into parking, then we don't need that, right?
Understood.
And individual businesses.
Do you, ask yourself this, do you want it to be a parking lot, or do you want it to be multiple stores? And the way that the GC is right now, it'd be problematic to have multiple stores. The CD will allow you to have the multiple stores, and the uses for that, and living quarters as well. So,
No, I mean, this
saying
parking.
there's parking over here, this. Again, you have to ask yourself, so what you want? We want to bring people here, businesses, families, all of that. I think parking would be a great problem to have later, after we bring the businesses in. I'd rather have the businesses than a parking lot. That's me personally.
Okay, but
That's me
are we gonna have businesses up and down the street is what, I thought that's what we're trying to do.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Are you saying that creating a parking lot would alleviate any concerns about lack of parking?
I guess, and the streets, and the buildings that are already there, is what I'm saying.
That would provide
Yeah.
parking for.
And there could be a combination thereof too. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Maybe half.
It could be, yeah, and it could also be something too that works out where the people that are coming in to invest to do those buildings have partially the burden on them as well to provide that. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I'm gonna open this up to public comment. We have a lot of people. I wanna keep it to 3 minutes per person, so please keep it to 3 minutes per person. We have a clock, a timer the clerk is gonna keep, and you have a question?
It sounds to me like switching the CBD, switching to the central business district would move us into being a weekend town. Instead of a town where people live their lives. I have a business to where people have to wait. And we are in that central business district, and we love being able to send people, oh, go eat at Palmera's, oh, go check out, this store, go check out that store, go. We send people into the area, and it sounds like switching it into just a central business district will be limiting the amount of businesses to where you have to have wait time. You have to kind of, I don't know how to express it, but like,
Estimation on some of those.
yeah.
If you look at the list of businesses compared,
Yeah, the list of
one
businesses
compared to
that are
CBD, I mean, it's a whole
prohibited
different group of businesses.
are A lot of
Yeah.
businesses where
It's
people would be
not-
waiting for
it's
the parent to
boutique.
drop something off. Yeah.
Bookstores
Like,
and
drop something off at like
coffee
a
shops
pharmacy,
and-
say, oh, give us 40
Oh, walking
minutes, and then
downtown.
Walk
Yeah,
downtown.
I personally would love it, I'm not,
I would love
that's just me.
I want it all.
I don't know,
I want it all.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But I want it the right
Taxi
way,
shop.
but I would love for it to be.
Mark, can you answer her question on that?
Yes,
Seems very limiting.
and it is.
Truthfully, if you're sending people to Palmera's or other restaurants, presumably, if the vision that we're talking about comes true, there'll be more places for them to go and visit and spend their time.
But you'll be
Yeah.
pushing out the businesses that people are coming into and having to wait. I have a garage, so people drop their car off and they
Okay.
told, okay, you've got 2 hours, come back. So that's 2 hours that they're wandering around town. But if we switch into, and I understand we would be grandfathered in,
You'd be grandfathered in, you'd actually be protected.
we would be, but that doesn't mean, an optometrist shop wouldn't be, and they say, oh, give us an hour and we'll have your glasses ready, or give us 30 minutes and your prescription's ready, and we won't have those built-in waiting periods for people to go and wander around throughout the week. If we go towards the central business, we become a weekend town, we become a weekend destination, and we'll be busy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe early Sunday. But then the rest of the time, the town will be dead because people aren't gonna come into town just to wander around unless it's a weekend.
Are we really trying
Does
to,
that
Yeah.
make sense?
yeah, that makes some sense.
That was the plan, was come through the weekend, spend your money, get the heck out, give us our town back for the week. That's so you're exactly right, that is the motive in the plan.
And the whole thing too is, we were talking about building new storefronts and new storefronts. There are a slew of storefronts that are completely vacant now. And I'm not sure how building new ones are going to alleviate the issues and why anybody wants to walk through a town that's full of what I consider dead shops. If you're gonna have to walk a quarter of a mile to see 2 or 3 open stores, what's the use there? To me, the big promotion should be toward these empty storefronts.
That are already here.
That are already here, and that some of these buildings and stuff, that I'm sure I'm sure something can be done. Like for example, the downtown partnership just pulled out of that road, but there's about 2 or 3 stores there in that little road that are empty now. And they will probably be empty for quite a while. And so we've got, and and I can start telling you, naming off a bunch of places up and down the road that no longer have businesses in them. And I believe personally that we need to fill the empty spaces before we create a bunch of new. Now, if somebody wants to come in like McDonald's did down there, and if a Panera wanted to build a place down here in the south side or something, or even, God forbid, a grocery store takes over that lot down there where they wanted to do RVs. Anything at all like that, that's wonderful. But if we're talking about a downtown area, we have to revitalize what's here before we go making investments. And I know we need to make investments toward the future and for bringing in new businesses. But my goodness, I know we're running at least a 40% unoccupancy right down our main.
So you're correct. You have to do both, right? So you do have to work on getting your existing businesses, existing buildings occupied, and you also have rules for the future. And there's no reason why you can't set up those rules for the future. You know, once you get those buildings occupied, people will want to come in and fill in spaces or expand some of those existing buildings that they can. And you need to have those rules in place, ready to go. Because if you tell somebody that, oh no, you got to go get variances, you got to go down to the city. So, you know, we worked on the land development code and we created a number of different things. We happen to be talking about zoning tonight. Zoning is always forward-looking. So that was what we were tasked to do, right? So we worked with the city and we went through a whole series of workshops to create a new land development code. That land development code had this central business district in it. It was designed to take care of some of the issues that we're describing here tonight and to implement this vision. Now, you may disagree with that vision, but that's the reason behind why we're here. Now, and so the former city manager left, interim city manager came in. Now we have Derek, the current city manager. And so we brought this issue forward because it was something that was left over from the task that we were assigned to do.
Now, you had a very hard job to do, and don't misunderstand me. And y'all have done actually about 80% of, I can agree with about 80% of everything that y'all are doing, and I think would be a benefit. I really do. But there are some things that we're going to have to straighten out, and I've actually been to a zoning meeting and brought up a couple things and it looks like some changes have already started to happen because of some of the things that went on at that zoning meeting. And I'd like to see more of that. So let me just say that, you know, I applaud you for that, Mark. We really need to get together as businesses. Now, I'm not a business owner here in town, but I'm trying to work with the businesses in town. And if anybody would like to, so I'm gonna lay out a little pad of paper. You can write down your information for me tonight or give me your business card. I would love to approach everybody in here because I do want to see the city grow, and I think we have a lot to work with. I'm Frank Murray, and not trying to make a speech here, but I am. And I would really like to help the business owners here in town. So if you wouldn't mind after the meeting, please get together with me and give me your information so we can work together.
Thank you, Frank. I had a question in the back there.
Has the time period ended to opt out as a
Needs to
property
be
owner?
extended,
No, it has not.
needs to be extended. Needs to be extended. It's not fair to have it opt out before it's even
It's
exists.
not out to the day.
Yeah,
This goes to the
right,
commission.
you can opt out. At some point, we have to publish, right, we in meetings, we have notices. So at some point, we have to call time in terms of what kind, you know.
But you called time before it was in, you asked us to opt out before it even existed. Okay, and that, you know, so we're having this meeting, I already opted out, what, the date's already passed, right? Opt out. Saying, that was just totally unfair, another comment yet, and I'm.
Not yet, this has been answering her question, and then we are gonna go to public comment. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So there's no time, there's no date in place to opt out?
It's Already passed.
Let me answer it two ways. First of all, because we have to produce documents and get them from the commission, we ask for you to opt out by date. Technically, if you show up at the very last minute and say you don't want to be a part of this, the commission is not going to force you to be a part of
What
this.
is the last minute that you're?
The last minute would be the second week, when are we in the second read of this ordinance?
Yeah, it's gotta be October or September,
So what is your September meeting?
second Thursday of the month.
Second Thursday of September will be second reading.
So is there a list, there's a list right now of people that opted out?
13 people of the 80 some odd have opted
They're
out.
located on Central.
I'll be asking.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I also wanted to ask, could you give us some examples for what we might expect as business owners if selling property in the central business district to someone who intends to use it for a different use?
So it really, when you say under the central business district, so it depends. Hopefully your sellers will do their due diligence, will come in and talk to us about it. That happens probably, I would say about 60% of the time. And so we will provide them some guidance. Depends what use they want to do and what they're planning on doing. If they're
Would it be more difficult under the CBD than it would be under the?
no, it's gonna be much easier under the central business district. There might be less uses, but it's going to be much easier.
So less uses, but easier to
Right.
change.
So again, let me repeat what I said before. So in terms of the physical arrangement of your site, your building, central business district, much more liberal than the current GC1 zoning. It's more restrictive in regards to use because of what I talked about prior. Trying to create this vision of a downtown that's where you have a number of different uses per linear foot, where you have a downtown that's going to attract people from the outside to come here and spend their money.
What about franchising, selling a business or purchasing a franchise, turning something into a franchise in the CBD? Is that allowed or no?
I mean, it would be allowed, and they'd have to meet those standards. Many franchises have that ability to do that.
So that's not a chain? You said no chains, but all franchises are chains, so no.
There's
There are no franchises.
Any of that stuff can change though, and that's why we're having this meeting, and that's why we're gonna
The
continue.
question is current.
I have never said no chains. I've never said that. Never
It
said.
is not on the documentation, and I think sounds, no chain stores.
There's no big box retail. No
Shopping
big box
centers.
retail.
But
No big
again,
box.
any of those changes, I
And
wanna
no
see it so I can
drive-throughs.
bring it to the commission, and the commission needs to hear that.
That was never said.
Fast food drive-throughs would not be permitted. So if it was a franchise that had a drive-through, that would not be allowed in CBD,
So Panera's would not be allowed.
not with the drive-through.
I'm right, so they got that.
Not central business district. And you can go to some of the quaint cities that have a lot of that walking, shopping, eating, drinking. I'll just take Mount Dora, for instance. You're not having a drive-through Mount Dora. It's a walkable city. That's the vision for the city. Our city's a pre-Mount Dora, and we have things that they don't have, which is two beautiful lakes, and we see them sunrise and sunset. So we're sitting on a diamond here. We have to prepare for the future. If there are changes that you don't like that are in this, now's the time to speak up on those so we can put them on paper and we can bring them to the commission. Yes, sir.
Jack, I'm a little nervous sitting here. I'm a resident, but I'm not a business owner, but I'm very keen to hear from the business owner. And just in the last few minutes, we've heard 2 or 3 business owners express concern. Has asked what the conditions might be for her to sell out. And I think we should be bending over backwards to keep the businesses that we have. Because the elephant in the room has already been exposed by this gentleman. We don't need to worry about 50% non-compliance. We've got 50% vacancy.
I agree.
So increasing the number of storefronts is just going to increase the number of vacant storefronts.
Well, and I think, again, this goes to planning and having a structure for the future. The city has other items that we're working on through CRA, policy, other things that we're doing in order to create an environment for businesses that are here, to be here and to flourish, and ones that want to come in, to come in.
Yeah, I would suggest that we, again, do everything we can to keep these people here and keep them happy. And that includes granting whatever variances are needed to facilitate their success. So that's one area that's been almost unmentioned. We treat these code conditions as if there is no city commission, so there's no P and Z board to grant the variances. Variances are granted every day. I mean, the city does have presumably some kind of intelligence in charge to adjudicate those variance applications and grant them as needed. This stuff is not, none of this is carved in stone, whichever code you decide to go with. I'm concerned about the people who are already here doing business, and I don't like the idea of any restrictions. I love having Shepherd's 3 blocks from my house. I have push cars from my house to Ashley's place of business. I'm here.
None of this is not gonna change any existing use or require any existing use to change. This is just one tool of the many things that you guys will have to do to have a successful downtown.
I get it, but
And it's,
there are multiple routes to success, and I think we need to take care of the businesses that we have. I agree with Ashley that the town needs to survive as a thriving community of residents first before we start to make over to a boutique destination. I think we've got a long way to go to start comparing ourselves with outdoor.
The ideal would be a combination of both.
Yeah.
The ideal would be to have a good regular stores for regular people who live in the city. And then in addition to that, to get some boutique stores in and things that will bring people in for Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And one of the ways to do that is to have something for them to come to. And for that could be points of interest, and also things such as, God forbid, flea markets, and some good performing venues for people to come to. And that is something, again, that I would like to speak with the business owners and residents about things that are going forward.
But when you get business in for any, if you're making it into an outdoor and people are coming for the businesses, they're gonna go to the old businesses too.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's actually bringing more money to the ones that are here already.
The main thing is there's no place in Florida like this with the lake.
No.
And the lake.
We have one of the greatest groups of citizens that I have been fortunate to be part of. And I've moved around a few times, I've been a few places. And the people here are generous of heart and spirit, and we make a great community. And I see great things for us.
I'm gonna go ahead at this time, thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and open up for public comment. We have a big group of people. This is being recorded. I have, of course, the commissioners have been notified. They're gonna come back and watch this, listen to it. The mayor's gonna listen prior, of course, to our next couple of meetings. So please make sure that you continue to voice your opinion. You have 3 minutes. Anybody who wants to come up and talk has 3 minutes, and will be timed by the clerk. And as soon as time is up, you'll have to go and sit back down, let the next person come up. Thank you. Scott, would you like to come first?
I'll come first, but I need more than 3 minutes.
3 minutes, sir.
I'm not coming up there for 3 minutes.
You can have my 3 minutes.
Does going to CBD zoning increase opportunities for other, or getting more grant money or things like to bring businesses in? Or not?
no,
The historical district does, right?
yeah, the historical district does.
Which is the whole Central Avenue.
This is just one tool, and again, it's just trying to address the forward-looking piece. There's all sorts of things you guys have to do in order to have, a thriving downtown.
All right, go. Just speak real fast.
I'm Scott King, as most of you know. I live at 721 Lemon Avenue here in town. I also operate a business at 306 Central Avenue. That business was started in 1977. And I've been there since 1985. So I'm going to give you a little history. This is why it won't be time. You guys need to hear this. This topic is not new. We started talking about this in the 90s. Miller Enterprises sold, and every bit of our economy left town. It was a ghost town. We had a lot of businesses, but we didn't have any economy because the big employer in town was gone and took all the different things out with them. So we got together, we're gonna create a cute little downtown walking area, just like we're talking tonight, okay? We even, that's when Central Avenue got a facelift. We got a grant, we worked on Central Avenue. We even created a merchants association. That's why we celebrate our Christmas festival the first Saturday of December, is because the original Crescent City Merchants Association in the 90s started that. It was my idea, we put it out there, and the reason for it, we wanted to try to have one a month, something every month, because we knew there was a catch-22, just like we talked about. We need more customers, since Miller's is gone, and we don't have those people supporting us. But we're not gonna get more customers without more businesses. We're not gonna get more businesses in town without more customers, so we started the idea of having the festivals. I did 2 of them, plus 1 in between, so I did a total of 3, and tried to pass on enthusiasm waned. It kept the Christmas festival going, and slowly but surely, different groups formed to try to do that and be this mini downtown partnership, if you will. And it slowly died, and then now we didn't have anything working towards redeveloping our town. Time passed, and then come about 2020, and Michelle Meyer started running for mayor, and her platform was the Main Street program. And then we thought we got lucky, and we found the city manager, who was Mr. Main Street, Charles Rudd. He was it. Everybody that knew anything about the Main Street program talked about Charles. But the problem there that happened with us is we were all lemmings. We just followed him. Nobody questioned. He was leading us. We were all sold in. We all were ready to go, and we did things. I think we spent 30 grand to rebrand ourselves. Today, I sure would have moaned and groaned and complained about that. But back then, we were all, following our leader. We started the Main Street program, the Downtown Partnership. I don't want to talk too much about that, but both of those are families right now. Both of those are family. And lastly, now we then started working on our zoning. So we worked real hard, but Rudd left, Main Street died, partnerships not happening, no direction from City Hall, and that volunteer-based partnership. We've got 2 or 3 events this year. So the new city manager picks up where Rudd left off, and gets Mark and the crew going again on working on this new zoning. So the company, Zev Cohen, wrote the zoning. Of course, they had direction from the city manager. Then there was public outreach and feedback. Now, I can tell you that what happened then, and I was invested. I went to every meeting, I went to everything. Never did we discuss to this level of what our new zoning would be. We had no idea it would be this restrictive. So I really don't think it's fair when we keep being told that it's our idea. We're just doing what you told us to do. That's just not true. We didn't know. We really didn't know. And now we're reviewing, and now we're trying to get this thing going. So now we have this new zoning that we weren't explaining stipulations that I think will be hurtful, and many of you have said the same thing. This is not what we asked for. Things that we haven't discussed, there's pre-approved paint colors, people. You can only paint your building a certain color. And that would be true whether you rebuilt your building or not, right? If I'm in the CBD, that's a question for you guys. If I'm in the CBD and I want to paint my buildings, then even though it's grandfathered in, I still have to paint by that color, correct? Don't know.
I think you're correct. I think you're correct.
So that's not good.
Could be a matter of
There's also-
interpretation, but I think that would be the correct interpretation.
So, there's a pre-approved paint colors. I'd like to see that change. Pre-approved materials, that's gotta change. We're talking metal, concrete, plastic, block, vinyl, and tile. I'm not sure what else we're supposed to use. Those aren't to be.
Well, if you have a historic district, if you have a historic building, and you're touching, you're gonna have all sorts of requirements that are gonna be far more restrictive. There's a separate and distinct set of rules that'll be in place for a historic building.
And the historic building, that person agreed to it when they got the building, right? In this situation, we don't have a choice.
Now, if you're listed, and, you know. Okay, so we're mixing things now. So there's a separate process that we're on now to beef up the city's historic preservation rules. And so that is a separate and distinct set of criteria that will be created. So much of what you're talking about, particularly with your own building, depending upon what the city does with historic preservation, you'll have to go down the historic preservation track. And most of what you're talking about in terms of building color will get regulated through historic preservation.
So are you
Not
telling
so
us
much
that this
new
is all or not, that it's gonna be different? You know, what are you telling us? That am I CBD or am I not? That's what I tried to ask you earlier.
The answer to your question is, are you CBD or you're not? The answer, you're gonna be yet. The answer is yet, you're gonna be CBD. And you're gonna have historic overlay, right? Right now, the historic overlay.
I have to agree to that, right? The city is not gonna, the city's not gonna deem my building historic tomorrow and then force me to adhere to a whole bunch of new stipulations, just like you're doing
I
with
think
CBD.
you're either a contributing structure or not. If you're a contributing structure, there are a whole set of rules that are going to apply to you.
If we can, we're past the Q&A. If you have questions, please post them to, I want your statements, so we can let other people speak. So please continue.
So then, the other thing that this does, we talk about uses, and we keep saying uses. Uses are businesses, okay? Uses are businesses. So, we were all in, need to do something for our economy, okay? But that was then, this is now. The city's different today. We don't have a grocery store, we don't have a pharmacy, a clothing store, we don't have a shoe store, we have no auto parts store. Oh, this is a tough room. Come on, we have 3 auto parts stores.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
Now, a lot of what I had to say had to do with the information I was given, and it was pretty clear that what was sent to me was there was no chain stores. That was obvious.
We've never said
I
that.
never said that. So could you pull up what I'm talking about so that I can see it? So, so that's gonna, you know, and if it hasn't been obvious, that's part of my problem.
These are the list of prohibited uses, so, you know, what is, I mean, you might be talking about,
No, I'm
Big
talking
box
about the
retail.
thing that she sent me, which is not that. You did have it up a minute ago, I'm pretty sure.
The 2 different colors?
No, there was that document that, I tell you what, we don't have the time for that now. So I will go on without that. So we have a bunch of unapproved businesses. I'm gonna read these. Some of these won't be true now because of the chain store thing. So tell me, can we have a pet store in the CBD?
This is the time for questions to come up.
Anybody mind if I try to get these questions answered and go forward? Or would you like me to be quick and shut up and sit down? Thank you. Can we have a pet store?
Yeah, I would consider that a retail use.
So then you're gonna have to take retail and to give us a list of what that means. So again, this is why I'm so disappointed. I have worked my butt off on this and I get pieces of information, pieces. All right. Okay. So we do have pre-approved uses, which is awfully short. And I think pretty much you can tell that the folks here really, we don't like that, okay? So the city's different now. We don't need to be cutting out things. We need more, which is again, what we've talked about. Variances approved by the city manager, and you keep talking about how much easier that's gonna be. I've yet to talk to anybody that likes that. He is our,
That's been,
yes, sir,
I'm
please.
on this
Yes, sir.
planning and zoning board, and that came up at our last meeting, and that no longer exists.
So,
Right?
That's been taken out.
That's been taken out.
okay, well, all.
Correct that, that will be taken out. It hasn't been taken out yet. It will be taken out. And we weren't talking about variances, we're talking about waivers. Waivers are a little bit easier to grant. We're gonna keep them as waivers so that the planning and zoning commission can issue waivers as opposed to making you go through a full variance process.
So if you've shortened that process, that's a good thing. We might like to hear that. I will go ahead and mention, and you talked about doing that after the fact. Let us stop this process now before second reading and fix it. You keep comparing GC1 and CBD. That is not a binary situation. You created CBD, you guys wrote it. We don't need, that's
We
what I told today.
created CBD, for a second, I thought you were saying we created the GC1. We didn't create the GC1. There was a process by which we had an original draft. It went through rounds, so there were a lot of comments. So it's not our original proposal. It was a process just like this is gonna be a process. There's gonna be some more changes to Central Business
Okay,
District.
but I've already addressed that. No, it was nothing like this. You guys wrote it. That's what I was told today by your office, okay? You wrote it. All right?
I saw what you were told today. What you were told today was a process was described to you. We presented it, it went through.
I read that process out loud just a few minutes ago. I read it out loud just a few minutes ago. So yes, you guys wrote it. You got direction from Rudd. Then it was public outreach and feedback, which I told you, never once was it to this level. The things that we were complaining about today were never mentioned until recently, okay? So please stop going in that big circle. That's not what happened. This is not what we want. Besides, if it was, the city is different today. We need our needs met. We have no grocery store, we have no pharmacy, no clothing store, no shoe store. So we need those things, and to Ashley's point, so we can stop today. We can stop this. We need to stop this right now, and we need to write zoning that the people today want. The people today, 4 or 5 years ago, who again weren't given the information, we had our needs met, so our expectations or our desires were different. You know, a lot of this would be great for Central Avenue. Why have a setback when all this other buildings are already up against the sidewalk? That should be the zoning for that area. Yes,
Central Business on Central has a build to line, not a setback line. So build two is to the property line.
And that keeps going back to what how many months have I asked for information and that's split up here for me today. So, so this work on 17 that we're talking about, that's not a walking town, that's Highway 17. So a walking town for that part of our city, that's not right. That's not gonna help us. This needs to continue being some kind of general commercial. And if we do want to do a walking street, or we do want to make this little shopping area, then it can be up and down Central. That's what we always talked about in the past. So, do you have a list of who's opted out? I've opted out. The school board opted out. Do we have the list handy on?
Yes.
Could we see that? So, the school board opted out. Now, I'm being told that we're trying to rezone that school board, the school property.
They have opted out.
Is that true?
They've opted
They've
out.
opted out.
Period, moving on, but now I'm told that you guys are trying to change the zoning from public or public school to GC1. Is that?
No,
Is that
no.
happening? Awesome.
Never heard of that before.
Awesome, thank you. Awesome. Now, I do want to ask, why is it so complicated? It doesn't look good. You guys wrote it. And every time you turn around, well, you get a variance, you do this, you do this. All those have to go through your office, right? If somebody wants to do a variance.
If somebody wants to do a
or
variance,
change their use, that goes through your office.
You have to
right?
make an application to the city, right? So we work with the city to, provide recommendations, analysis, write a staff report, present it, so.
So that's a yes.
Take the
What was the question?
I mean, you said if you do variance, I explained what happened, variance, yes. Did I say that it goes, you make
No, you said,
applications?
no, like usual, your answers were so big and long that nobody understands it. My question is, if somebody has a use change, that goes through your office, correct?
They'll make application for use change, it then gets sent to us.
Okay, so it does go through your
We
office.
provide,
All right, how much did we pay you guys last year? Do you have any idea?
This is getting outside of the.
No, it's not.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll just go ahead and draw the things. If you guys wrote it and you make it complicated, so we have to come to you for variances and changes of use all the time, that gives you more billable hours. I am saying that is that the motive and why it's so convoluted and so difficult? We're trying to figure out why this is this way. We're telling you want it different, and we're getting all kinds of pushback. All these rules and things, you're like, well, you've got to do this, you got to do that. No, those are our rules. That's not mandated to us from somewhere else. That's mandated to us by our own city, you guys. So let's not make this thing so complicated. We've got lots of things we don't like. We need to get it off of the commissioner's agenda. This disapproved uses, that's got to go away. And we got to start getting answers to our questions. So many times, even just tonight, after the months that I've been working with you guys trying to get this information, then tonight it's on me. It feels like bait and switch, and it really, we need to stop and we need to find out what today's residents want in this thing, not residents 4 years ago or 20 years ago.
No, Scott, you and I have talked a lot, and I think we've heard this as well. I think the main thing you keep coming back to over the last couple months are the uses. One of the uses that I have heard, well, there's two, I would say, that people keep bringing up. One is auto service, that has been brought up multiple times by a couple of different people. And the other one is ground floor residential. So I think at this point, I understand there are things you don't like. If there is a use that people do want to see in the central business district, that's what will help us in amending this effectively. If we just hear that you don't like it, we understand that, but we need to know what you do want. So what is that? What uses do you want to see in the central business district that currently are not there?
We can't do it the other way around and strip the list instead of making it so,
Your current zoning doesn't work that way, right? This is a principle of how all zoning works.
You keep saying that, our current list is not binary. You don't have to consent. What is your point to continually compare to GC1?
Because that is-
CBD needs to be correct. okay? If CBD, and it's something that we don't like, the answer is not to say, well, it's even worse than GC1. I'm not talking about GC1,
Yes,
we're talking about
that is-
CBD.
That is, I think it's a perfectly fair comparison, because that is the current zoning that is in place.
He's missing.
CBD could be different. so-
It could be different. You understand, there's no perfect solutions, there's only trade-offs, right? We are never gonna come up with the perfect solution that is gonna make everybody's future bright and shiny. But we will be able to provide options, and all those options have trade-offs.
No, you're giving us very few options. Very few options.
Question,
You know,
some of the.
You work for us, Mark.
The list of businesses that are allowed in CBD and a list of businesses that are allowed in CG1, can we put some of the CG1s over the CBD, or you can't do that?
No, you can do that.
We can add, like, let's add the whole list over then,
You could,
and not limit it.
you could,
Let's add list.
but the issue, again, it just gets down to what your vision is
Right.
for,
That's
this
what we do.
central area.
Move the whole,
Yeah, but I don't,
move the whole, the CG1 list, or whatever it is,
No.
over to the CBD, and now there's nothing that's being excluded. We still have the limitations on the colors and all that kind of stuff, but we still got limiting our businesses.
Are there specific uses that you want to see? Do you want to come up here so that?
No,
So if there are uses you specifically want to be moved over, I think it would help
Whatever you want.
the planning and zoning commission and the city
You wanna
commission
have-
hear exactly what those are.
You know,
And that helps us as well.
no,
no.
I don't, except for adult businesses. And, pawn shop, pawn shop.
Uses are good. I mean,
Tattoos,
they could show up at the planning.
we don't need more
Say,
fuel pumps,
We like these uses.
we need cheaper gas.
So we don't
Why is it
have
more money across the city? Like on the fourth area.
I just want to make it clear, Mark was saying is, and this is important to know, and for Scott as well, understanding where you're coming from totally. If there are changes that need to be made, I was asking, well, can we have another workshop? Can we talk about this, bring everybody together? But we don't have to, you can come directly to the planning and zoning. This is coming back to planning and zoning and tell them exactly what you want in or out of this. They can take a vote on that and make the recommendation. We do have, come on, I appreciate this, come on. And
Good evening, everybody. I'm Frank Murray. I'm at 505 North Lake Street, and I'm a trustee at Hal Memorial United Methodist Church. And I'll throw in a little plug for us. Currently, we do over 150 events, community events a year. So I want people to be aware of that, Hal Memorial United Methodist. I'm also on the Crescent City Historic Preservation Board. So I want to put that out there so everybody knows a little bit where I'm coming from. I want to thank everyone who's been involved with the zoning. I think that it's been a hard task and that y'all have actually done a pretty good job mostly. But that's going to be with anybody, it's going to be mostly. None of us are perfect, neither am I. We have a great new clerk who's been spot on. Derek has been amazing. I've been by and spoken to him a couple times, and he's really been very good to work with. And if you have questions, he's a good man to talk to. Now, having said all that, I do have my own visions for the city, and not everybody would agree with them. Y'all heard most of them earlier when I was sitting there. We're a city first. We're a great community. We've got a lot of great people. I look around here and I know quite a few people. There's several zoning people here tonight. And y'all are doing a fantastic job. I've had the pleasure of sitting through the long meetings while I'm waiting for our historic preservation meeting, which is at the end of those. I'd love to reverse that, but I do enjoy sitting through the zoning meetings most of the time. And so having said all that again, we really need to work together as a community. Now, we do have the downtown partnership, which some people have good and bad views of it, and we're not going to go there with that, but they are working on some things. I'm passing around the notepad that's floating around here somewhere. If you want to put your name and contact information, I'll be in touch with you probably within the next week. And I'd like to work with everybody and to help this city to grow. We do need events. We do need things happening here in town. We do need a close community, and we need to work together in that, and I keep stressing that. But there's gonna take a lot of volunteer work as well. You know, it's not just us waiting for zoning and planning and Derek and everybody to make it happen for us. It's never gonna happen. It takes us to make things happen. And we need to join hands, not necessarily literally, but figuratively, we do need to join hands together and do a good cheerlead for this city. We need to present it well to others. We need to make sure that our businesses look good and approachable to people. We do need more parking, but that's another thing. Right now, it's mostly adequate, but as we start holding more events and things in town, we are gonna need more areas to park. The Catfish Festival is our biggest thing. The next thing that probably has done really well is Anna down at Three Bananas has the Bike Fest. That was tremendous. Great event. It's gonna be an annual event. We're holding 5 flea markets a year at Howe Memorial. We plan on increasing that. We envision doing health days and children's days and a lot of other things. If you're looking for a venue to do something in, and you want to bring some people in a larger venue, we do have a hall that's gorgeous. It seats over 200 people. We have a stage and a full kitchen, and we would love to work with anybody here in town. Again, I'm plugging it, but it's our big venue here in town. There's also the Women's Club. They have a smaller venue at the other end of town. It's a great little venue. They also have a kitchen. Both are to work with. We really need to come together. So please, the pad that I'll be passing around, please put your information on it. I will get in touch with you, and hopefully we can work together. And I believe that the businesses can really do a lot here in town. We just need a little bit of organization. And thank you very much for listening to me.
Have any other takers? Come on up here. State your name and address.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kevin, 34 South Main Street in Crescent City. I've been here about 8 years. I've been involved in a number of different communities and so on, as well as some private nonprofit organizations. I'd like to bring the focus back to the original intent of this meeting, which is to review the choice that's been presented here. And I'd like to point out the fallacy of the choice, okay? This really is a false choice. With respect to the gentleman here and the lady, it's not a case of A or B, okay? There is a choice C, there's a D, there's an E, and so on. It's up to us to craft these choices. Zeb Cohen has been compensated very nicely for the work that you've done. And nobody's begrudging you that. Okay. But I would argue that at this point, it's beginning to seem to me as if the tail is wagging the dog. The city is in charge. This is our choice by way of our civic leaders, by way of the city commission, who are advised, we hope, by the planning and zoning committee, several members of which are here for this meeting. They have not spoken formally, but we have heard 1 or 2 comments from them. I'm very curious to know what their stand is. I have not attended those meetings, but I'm friends with several of the members, and I hear through the grapevine that there are some things going on in the background that we may or may not be aware of. One of them is the retreat of the school board by way of the Miller School Complex. Why did they back out of that? Why have 2 or 3 prominent business owners of a very small set of businesses here already asked what's involved in backing out of this? What don't they like? That's what I don't like. I don't like the nervousness. I'm very sensitive to that. I don't like what I'm feeling, which is a steamroller coming down the road. I think we ought to put the brakes on it over here. Slow this thing down. Have a few more listening sessions. You can charge us for the time. I'm sure you will. And we can fine tune some of these choices and maybe finesse the central business district choice so that we won't exclude so many things that even with glasses, I still can't read. And that makes me nervous too. I don't want to exclude anything. I mean, I'd rather not see a tattoo parlor on Central Avenue, but If one wants to come in and if they'll add to the tax base, I'll advertise for them. I mean, we need everybody that we can get here in this town. As I've said before, from the back, we need to be bending over backwards to keep the businesses that we have. We're not gonna draw any new businesses while the old ones are looking for their way out. We need to keep y'all here. We need to keep this town vital and happy. We need less dream of boutique frou-frou shops, and more real infrastructure. That's the way I feel. With apologies to the lady and gentleman for all your work, I understand that it's good. I have an idea how much work goes into this. But again, you're working for us, and we'll be the ones making the decision by way of our esteemed city commission. Thank you very much.
Anybody else from the public that would like to speak?
Okay.
Come on, sir. Say your name and address. Are you paying zoning administrator? Hold on, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Sunshine law, sunshine law. You can't discuss this.
That's not true.
Is there some? Is there, do we have any other, planning and zoning members here? Do we have any, one, sir, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, do we have any other planning and zoning members here?
No, Ken left.
Okay, then you can, please come up.
You're
I didn't.
We don't have Dawn's advice. I would really worry about
Sunshine,
exposing them to that. I mean, I don't know what the answer is,
okay.
but my approach is somebody who could be, liable for violation. I choose.
You know, I say is,
Did you get one of
It's not me. It's also because it has nothing to do with me.
now we know all we need to know, right?
I checked with this very reason. That's why when he was hosting the meeting, he could speak.
Now we know all we need to know.
Can't be in public forum.
Well, don't speak as a,
The microphone?
don't speak as zoning, speak as a citizen.
It's up to him.
Speak as a citizen.
If it has to do with something that he'll be voting on, it could be conflicting.
Well, I would say just, we're not gonna vote anything for a while, so it'll be okay. We're gonna
It'll be heard later.
I mean, slow down for a few months.
I was saying
So have any others,
I wouldn't speak, I'll speak.
any other public comment from any business owners or other residents? Okay. I guess we're gonna conclude this meeting if there's no other public comment. I will tell you that the slide presentation that was done tonight will be on the city website tomorrow under announcements, so you can download a copy. If you'd like an emailed copy, you can leave your email address on the form that you filled out, just write the emails and we'll get it out to everybody, tomorrow as well. And please pay attention to the next meetings, what's coming up, what's being heard by the planning and zoning. Please come and voice your opinion to them as well. They are the advisory board to the commission before it comes to the commission. And so you can come and make your thoughts known there as well. Yes, ma'am.
Is that map current?
That map is not current. It was the one that was over here on the wall, and
That's
it's,
what I thought.
the school portion is the piece that's different on there.
There are others as
And there
well.
are a couple others, because there's been opt-outs, correct?
Yes, and that is the main reason behind the deadline for the opt-outs, is so that I have time to update this map
Correct.
before city commission sees it, so it's accurate.
Okay.
At the last meeting, you talked, it sounded like you were telling us that there's something big was coming, but then wouldn't you elaborate? What is the big secret? Why are we pushing this so hard? What's coming?
I don't recall that. I'd have to go back. I mean, what's coming is everything from St. Johns County and Clay this way. That's what's coming. And we have to have the infrastructure in place and the rules in place to contain it sustainably, because if we don't, we're not gonna be able to sustain this place. That's what this is for.
We thought there was something specific. It wasn't something specific that you was coming to.
No. Was that,
There was a discussion about the school property, that was the confusion with last week.
okay. Yeah, and I can't speak for anybody, but I can tell you, budget wise, you know, we're looking at this year. Amendment 3 is a huge deal, and if people are backing out because of financials, it could be because of Amendment 3. County's gonna be affected by that, we're gonna be affected by that, and, so, you know, that might be the reason, I'm not sure. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
Eric, all of the commissioners' emails are on the website if you want to contact.
Thank you, yes, so if you couldn't hear them, all the email addresses are on the city website, contact information for your city commissioners, please reach out to them, vice mayor and the mayor, with your concerns.
So what can we really expect now? You know, we voiced some concerns, a lot of folks had concerns. It's obvious we want change. You told us basically we have to come to the zoning meeting to voice the change. So is that the procedure? You know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, I've been in this seat a million times trying to affect change, and, you know, I'm a citizen, I got my own job. You know, so staying on top of this is really difficult and a lot of work. And just us coming in and giving you our suggestions doesn't make me feel any better that this thing is going to stop, not go on and be reworked. It's obvious that that's what we want and need. So tell me, what can we really expect here? The answer earlier was go to the commission, go to the.
And I would stay behind that answer to make sure that you talk to your elected body, and then you come to the meetings for the planning and zoning, make your voice heard. With that being said, I heard earlier, there's no plan A, no plan B, there's other plans. It's up to the people, it's up to you all to come and discuss that with your commission, come discuss it with the planning and zoning.
I am asking how we can be sure that this thing doesn't move forward, you know, that it's gonna slow down so we have the chance to talk, you know, we don't, you know, we're not paid to sit here like the rest of y'all are, so when we do it, it's difficult and time consuming, and I might miss a meeting, so what are we gonna do?
I understand, those appointed boards and elected officials are the ones that make the final decision. This ball has been rolling for a while prior to my coming here. I picked it back up, a lot of work has been put into place, and these were things that were put into the LDC and built in years and years ago. I see this place growing, I see stagnation right now. I don't agree with everything that's in there on prohibited uses either. I don't think that if you constrict something that it creates an environment for growth. I think that needs to be addressed, and I'll talk to my commissioners and I'll talk to the boards when I sit in planning and zoning, and I'll talk to our planning officials as well. I heard everything you said, and just to tell you, and I think it was brought up earlier, there were items that were brought up previously that we have taken into consideration. We've already started to make those changes, and we'll continue to do those because this is live and living. So your concerns will definitely be addressed. And I think it was said earlier too, we're not gonna make everybody happy, but we have to do the best that we can do. We have to try to take bits and pieces of it and bring it together for the betterment of our city and the businesses existing, and for the future to bring other people in here. So that's what we're doing.
So what's the time frame for trying to vote this in?
This is going back,
We're gonna go back to the planning commission with changes to the central business district at their next meeting.
And then what happens?
If they, well, it depends what happens at that meeting. They can direct changes, right? They could make changes that night and then send it forward. You know, what they did last time is they directed us to make some changes and bring it back to them. So we make suggestions.
But those changes, you wanna make a separate ordinance or zone or whatever after the fact is what you said.
There's two different tracks here that we're working on. One is the map amendment, right? Has been first read at the city commission. And then there's the text of the central business district.
I'm so sorry, that's not where I'm going. I hate to interrupt you again. Earlier, you were talking about the changes that went to zoning, and they had two, downstairs.
Three, they had three.
What was the other one? staying downstairs and
Being approved by the commission and stuff, the city manager.
and the city manager, okay, those two items you said were going to be voted on and handled totally different separately after the fact. That's what you said, right?
Those are
So
three.
what I'm saying is we don't want that. Let's make this one time correct. Let's not put a bunch of Band-Aids on it afterwards. Let's make it right today.
I think what I'd like to see, and I can bring my business card, my email addresses on the website as well, is that if you have things that you want addressed or recommendations, to get those to me so I can make them aware. And we can have those in the meeting and have a discussion with the board that's gonna be putting a recommendation forward to the commission. That's the best way to go about it.
Does Mount Dora have a central business district, or Dunedin, or St. Augustine?
Yeah, they all have specialized zoning.
Do they have, like, so, okay, do they have that?
Not this one. That's not what he said. He said specialized zoning.
Specialized
They don't have, it's not exactly
I
like
mean,
this.
Charles came up with a template somewhere, he
Yeah,
didn't make this up,
yes.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, you can
But
actually
the
go
kicker
find
is,
all this codes online.
who listed the businesses that we can have as the boutiques, who made that up?
Right, was that something that was captured from another city
place, yes.
or something else, or was it
Yeah,
recreated?
the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay, some of it began with it being captured. Some of it went Charles, who had a particular vision and a lot of knowledge about central business districts and so he went over the list very carefully.
And the commission also. has-
Right, and the commission,
So
so.
I'm just saying that they're.
Right. I mean, but just understand, why are we doing this? Because this is a model that has worked in other cities, right? That's why we're doing it.
And
This,
believe it or not,
this is not a brand new wheel. We didn't come here and decide to victimize Crescent City especially.
and believe it or not,
So
so,
it's being done without a decision.
No, this is a model that works in other places.
But the
And-
model involves input from the community that you take.
Correct.
Put in your.
The vast majority of people who this affects are not in this room and are not upset. I do get calls from people who ask me, why do we keep delaying this? There are people who want us to go through. Unfortunately, they're not here tonight. I'd love them to be here. You know?
And as Mr. King pointed out, we're working for free.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what city you're modeling
and I
on.
gotta, yeah, in the back, go
Because,
ahead.
first off, auto repair and sales, the CBD, I don't know nothing about this, but how's this gonna affect me on 17?
It wouldn't affect you at all.
Okay, all right.
And the only time that it would affect the property, the use, is if you were expanding the actual footprint of your business. That's it,
What, I mean, the footprint, like, the whole expanding the shop?
Yes.
Make it bigger?
yes.
So make sure that we understand what this means.
I do a lot of
This was a
stuff. I
bad thing.
I do a lot of
If you're,
stuff.
if you're successful and you need to add a bay, you can't, because once you add a bay, you're no longer grandfathered in, and now you have to live by CPG.
Now, is that true? Because I'm out of,
Those are the ones that told me that.
I'm out of room. I'm not, I need room.
Yeah.
From over here, guys.
I know.
You are ready.
I try.
You are.
People stop just to get pictures.
Yeah, so he sounds like he's a special case, but I don't think he complies.
I'm trying to hold on with everything.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that. The property itself right now for these doesn't even comply with GC1 rules.
Right.
But you would not,
With me, go by me?
yeah.
Okay, so, because it's so far grandfathered in,
It's already been approved from previous city manager. I would do the same if I was asked to write a paper.
Right,
That's not-
so apparently he can't expand though under the current rule.
Correct.
so I can't expand onto my garage.
Not even the current.
Right,
only
and
the current.
And this has nothing to do with that.
Correct.
No, I'm just saying, have you been to my shop? I have no room. I can't breathe in my shop, so at some point.
So do you have room on your property where you could build?
You see the side of my property?
Yeah.
It's my landlord's property, but she's not here. I just called her and said, I'm coming here. So, but it's like, if you're going, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, how are we supposed to grow? If I'm a vital part of this
You
town.
can apply for a waiver in that sense.
But that's why the.
How do we move that?
Or we could make it right to begin with, guys.
But that's why the previous.
Every waiver is more money in Mark's pocket. Every waiver is more money in Mark's pocket. No, let's make it right to begin with.
If I can, this action.
Kind of, in addition to this, you keep bringing up, all of these other towns that are absolutely nothing like Crescent City. I recommend going and looking at Green Cove Springs because it is the town that is, in my opinion, the most similar to Crescent City's footprint. They have 17 going right through the middle of it. They've got, business district on one side of 17 and business district on the other. They've just completely redone Walnut and all of the area around the springs. I would be interested to see what their code is because they have garages in their downtown that have been, grandfathered in. They have all of the little businesses like I've been talking about, but they also have the coffee shops and the boutique.
I'm not gonna down Green Cove Springs, but Green Cove Springs is no longer getting permits for building either.
Yeah.
They're built out, they're sending people away because they didn't properly plan when they had the chance 20 years ago.
I think it'd be interesting to compare it though to see what we could use versus what, because I think it's closest to Crescent City in our area.
I'm curious, I haven't been in Green Cove in 15 years. I'll take a look at it, check it out.
We're not making it a big city, we're not Tampa, you know what I mean? Let's just make this town beautiful.
We're gonna have to turn you over.
We're not gonna try to make Tampa, we work with 5 different cities.
Yeah, but what are these cities? We're not a city,
Right.
basically.
So they're all small towns, Oak Hill, Willaca, Crescent City, Pearson, Lake Helen. Crescent City might be among the biggest of the towns. We specialize in small towns. We're not trying to turn you into town.
Great place.
Yeah.
Sears and Robot. Man, this was a great little town, let's bring some coastal vibes back. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was in here a couple of years ago. I hear from there, but good town. It's all. There's a politics, everything.
Dangerous action. Do I have any other comments or anybody want to speak for any time? It's open, I'm not timing anybody, so.
So, thank you very much. I know I was a real joke tonight, I appreciate you.
No, it's not your.
No,
You're not tonight, you're always sure. I would say, I'm not going to do it. I don't know.
I do want to take the time for our appointed boards and our elected officials, say thank you for being here. We have Vice Mayor Lori here, we also have Commissioner DeVito here, we also have Mr. Bradford Green here from our planning and zoning. Right, so thank you for being here tonight. We also have Commissioner Ward here who's hiding behind this nice young lady in a black shirt here, so, but thank you, and again, email us, email me, I will get it to the right people, give me your ideas, I don't have a problem with getting it right, and I don't have a problem putting rates on anything, that's part of what this meeting was, because I heard that certain people in the public didn't have the information, and I wanna make sure that you guys have the information, you have the true factual answers from the planners that have been working on this for several years. Are there changes that need to be made? Sure. This is never gonna be perfect, and the great thing about this is that it's government that can always be changed because of you, and that's why you're here. So thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll conclude the meeting, all right? Thank you. Thank you so much for everything.